Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life with Stirling Faux on AM650.
Well, we're talking boating on Boomer Life tonight. Nice to have you with us. In studio, Don Prittie and Ian MacPherson from BoatingBC. Don is the president. Ian is one of 8 directors of the association, a not-for-profit association in British Columbia. Correct, Ian?
Indeed, yeah.
All right. Now, so Don, this is an industry association. Boaters, individual boaters, don't join BoatingBC. It's for the industry side of the equation, right?
That is correct. It's either the members, companies that are involved in serving the recreational boating industry,
okay,
or a few nonprofit organizations that are part of boating, recreational boating. Now, something like the Power Squadrons,
sure,
or the Council of Yacht Clubs may be a member.
Okay. But Alan, or Ian rather, for individuals who want to belong to a boating club or outfit of some kind, there's no shortage of options, is there?
No, not at all. If you learn to sail under Sail Canada or ISBA, one of the 2 official training groups here, they have their own forum, their own website, and little seminars that happen, and they communicate with that. And they can become members. Like, there are member benefits. If you become a member of ISBA, you get discounts on certain items, chartering, hauling your boat, and you're supported by a lot of industries in that way. So
okay,
there is a huge benefit. But the benefit that we want the public to attend the boat show.
Oh, okay.
Because that's where we collect our funds to support needy causes and boating causes, and this is very important to us. So
okay,
the public can help enormously by doing that.
Okay, but now over at your business, which is Nanaimo Yacht Charters and Sailing School, and so graduates of the sailing programs at Nanaimo Yacht Charters and Sailing School, chances are will join a sailing club on the island then, right?
Very possibly, yes.
And of course, we have Jericho here in Vancouver that most of us are. It's a great place for kids. A lot of kids, do they have sailing camps now, Don, in the summertime? That's a great activity.
Absolutely. You know, most of the yacht clubs have youth programs that are fantastic. Both of my kids, my sons went through sailing both in West Van here and over in Victoria.
Right.
And they learned to sail, and that became, something that was very important to them as they moved forward. There are also other cruising clubs that are out there, and members join, not necessarily associated with the yacht club, but they just want to cruise together as a group.
Sure.
Other things that you find are people that have similar boats, all made by one maker, one manufacturer.
Chris Craft Club, and those kinds.
Absolutely.
Well, they have Mustang clubs for car owners. Why wouldn't they have Chris Craft clubs for boat owners?
That's right.
Yeah.
So they have rendezvous, and they'll have different events throughout the cruising year, summer and winter, of course, on this coast. So it's a great thing to be part of.
Well, now that's another thing. Now, Ian, you, like me, came to British Columbia from Point Safar. And one thing, and it's an absolute mind blower for Canadians to find out that indeed in Vancouver, people boat 12 months of the year. We have the Carroll Ships. That's a fabulous tradition that for a person from snowbound anywhere else in Canada, just you drool at the prospect of being able to see it, let alone getting out there and being in the Carroll Ships parade. It's quite unique, this market,
I can talk with a lot of experience with the Carroll Ships. I was the president of that organization many years ago.
That's perfect.
And it was just something that grew into an event that was spectacular in nature, and something people from other parts of the world had no knowledge of until they got here.
Absolutely.
It started off with a barge in front of the Bayshore Inn with kids in a choir singing to the Bayshore.
That's right, singing to the guests at the Bayshore.
That's correct.
Now, when was that?
Oh, gosh. That was probably in the mid-'60s.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's been a tradition now for quite a while. And do they have anything in the UK, Ian, that replicates the Carroll Ships? Or perhaps in Southern Europe, where the climate is a little more accommodating at Christmas time? Do they have boat parades and festivals around the Christmas season?
Well, the individual yacht clubs will go to great trouble in decorating all of the boats with lights. And then they'll have a sail past, and the Commodore will stand there and freeze himself to death.
Right.
As this
Taking
array of beautiful boats go past, and so that does happen in the UK. In Europe, to a lesser extent.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, another reason for people to visit us at an off-season time of year.
Very much so.
Interesting.
We boat all year.
Yeah. Don, talk to us a little bit. I mean, it's BoatingBC, and you're the president. So talk to us a little bit about, we talked a little bit about what the organization does. Now, Ian moments ago alluded to the boat show being a primary fundraising point for the work that BoatingBC does. So elaborate a little bit on where some of that money goes.
Yeah, well, we'll do grants towards capital projects that maybe an organization might have. It has to be a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
But as an example, we years ago gave a large contribution for the launching ramp up in Port Moody, so that people can get their boats in and out of the water up at the Rocky Point there. We've done things for the Disabled Sailing Association. We've helped some of the dragon boat teams with pink life jackets and things like that in order to get them out on the water.
And you know, they're already in training. Dragon boats are coming up in late June, and there are the training sessions. You can see them down on Falls Creek.
Absolutely.
And it's already happening.
And I think that tells the story of the fact that we're into getting all kinds of people on the water in different modes. If they're on paddleboards, kayaks, on dragon boats, small sailboats, small motor boats, out fishing. Sport fishing is spectacular in British Columbia.
Absolutely.
And that's something that many people, that's how they start. So, we're keen on all kinds of boating and in many different ways, whether you want to own a boat, whether you want to rent a boat, charter a boat, or go with a friend as you did when you first came from Ontario.
That's right, I did. I learned to sail. Baptism of fire. Okay, you untie it and we're off now, and you do this, and there were two of us and the skipper, and we literally learned on the fly. My wife would love to become a dragon boat paddler, Ian.
Yes.
It's one of those multiple options that Don was just describing, that multiplicity of choices available to British Columbians on the water. And the dragon boat is so cool because, well, you're only 1/20th of the force that drives the boat forward, but what a blast, especially at the end of the race.
Yes, especially if you win.
Well, that too, but it's the camaraderie and the replaying of the race over a cold one after it's over. All great fun and great exercise.
Without a doubt. It's, as Don said earlier, anything on the water, that's what we're after. We promote boating in every aspect that you could possibly think of.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the benefits to boaters in British Columbia. You're not going to have to twist my arm up behind my back very far to convince me that there are an awful lot of benefits to boaters. And again, not just for the saltwater crowd here on the coast, either on the island or Metro Vancouver, right up to Whistler and the Sunshine Coast, but inland as well. Boating, as we've talked about already, Don, is it's a family event. Not all, but certainly a lot of young families invest their time and a limited amount of their money in boating because that's what flips their switch and gives them opportunities to play together.
Yeah, absolutely. And the old saying, the family that plays together stays together.
Absolutely,
Getting out on the water and you talk about some of the lake programs, up in Kelowna or the Okanagan, water skiing, wakeboarding, tubing, all those events and things that you can do together as a family or the extended family. It's just fantastic. And there's a huge number of boats up in that part of the world and opportunity to get out on the water.
Right. Talk to us a little bit about the economics of boating, Ian, if you would, please, because if you're going to, especially this is Boomer Life. We're talking to people who are in their boomer years who have perhaps enjoyed a little opportunity to make a buck or two along the way, and now as they approach retirement and have a little bit more time on their hands, they're looking about some leisure time activities to spend a little money and have some fun with. And generally, I would imagine in a lot of cases the decisions comes down to, well, are we going to do a sailboat or are we going to do a Winnebago, right? Because in many cases.
Indeed, yeah. So in terms of the economy of sailing, we can put you onto a boat that would suit your pocket. You can do anything from, as Don said, wakeboarding up to a fully fledged ocean vessel. And you could start easily on a 27-footer and you could buy a used 27-footer for less than $10,000.
Aha.
And that competes very favorably with your Winnebago.
No, exactly. And
Yeah.
are we talking about a 27-foot power or sailboat?
Sail. I'm talking about a little Catalina 27 here.
Just that little something in
just
mind.
something, so that would tickle your fancy, wouldn't it?
Uh-huh.
And you could get out in the water with that, and it would have a head. It would have a comfortable, couple of comfortable bunks, and it would do the job.
And a little bit of a galley for weekend cooking. That
you
kind of thing.
could go up to Princess Louisa in that, which to me is one of the most spectacular destinations on our coast, and that's within your reach.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, using it over and over again. It's not like a trip on a cruise ship where your money is spent. You have that boat and you can do all sorts of wonderful things with it.
Right.
Sailing on Wednesday night racing, going out just for the weekend. It's a beautiful night. Go out and sail.
Exactly.
Sail in winter.
Or I was just going to say,
There we are.
It's Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Let's go for a sail.
A full enclosure has you on that boat, warm as toast with the heater going, and enjoy the beauty because it's quiet out there. The anchorages are almost deserted or invariably deserted, and you can have some of the best sailing of the year in the off-season.
Right. Now, you were talking earlier, Don said it's about a 60-40 split ballpark for power boaters versus sailors. That would indicate a lot of people doing freshwater sailing around British Columbia as well.
Yeah, I'm not too knowledgeable about the freshwater scene because I'm a coastal boy.
Right,
but yes, there's.
You see lots of sails up on Lake Okanagan.
Oh yeah,
in the
you see them
summertime.
there. There's lots of and walking around the
Christina
shores
Lake,
and,
another hugely popular spot.
Yeah, and the yacht clubs. You see the sailboats and lots of ski boats and lots of sailboats, and the pontoon boats are very popular in that. In that region.
Back to the economics of boating, presumably power boating is simply more expensive than sailing because you got to use gas. At least with sailing, you can turn off the engine, and they're generally not very big, are they, Ian? They're just enough to push the boat under the Lionsgate Bridge. You can't sail under the Lionsgate Bridge. You got to go under power, right?
It's called an auxiliary because it really is. It supplements the main power force, which is your sail.
Which is sail. So a little engine, not a lot of gas. On the other hand, a power boat, Don, is gas only, and therefore clearly more expensive.
Well, yeah, but there are some very efficient power boats. Some displacement boats that go 7 to 10 knots, cruise along, and very efficient as far as their use of fuel.
Right.
So different ways to do it, but yes, it's possibly a little more expensive.
But just in terms of planning, and and again, we're at that time of year. We're here in April. There's summer is looming large. We got company coming. What are we going to do? Again, you just budget accordingly. If you're going to go the power boat route, then you're going to have to know at all times you have to factor more gas realities into your financing than you would under sail.
Yeah, that's true. But keep in mind, because of the nature of British Columbia, you can be to a spectacular spot in no time flat.
True.
You go from Vancouver Harbor, you can go up to Deep Cove or up to Indian Arm. It's very close.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't have to spend a lot of time and or fuel to get there.
Right.
And you're out in the wilderness. It's nature at its best. From Vancouver out to Howe Sound, for instance, Snug Cove on Bowen Island,
Yes.
or backside of Gambier Island. Spectacular spots. From the marina I run, you can be 3 minutes and you're into absolute wilderness. You can't see a house, in 3 minutes.
And we're talking the marina that Don is referring to is Canoe Cove Marina in Victoria.
That's correct.
Whereabouts in Victoria, exactly?
Out by Swartz Bay, by Sydney.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I know where you are because I'm recalling it in my mind. And Ian MacPherson is our other guest here on Boomer Life tonight. And Ian operates Nanaimo Yacht Charters and Sailing School and Stone's Boatyard in Nanaimo. Our guest talking boating on Boomer Life, Don Prittie and Ian MacPherson, and I will return after this quick timeout here on AM 650.
It's all about the baby boomer lifestyle. Boomer Life on AM 650.